My recollection of the HOCs goes back to the early 90s when we first took them out onto the road. What I mean by that is we're the experts in housing for sure, housing research, all types of research, and market analysis. But we didn't really showcase it in any type of event. So in the early to mid 90s, we started with this idea of bringing it out to the marketplace and seeing how receptive the marketplace would be to the information. From our HOCs, we've always prided ourselves on the objectivity. Usually, the Housing Outlook conferences are timed with the latest housing forecast release or some fresh information, and so we have a story to tell. And that objectivity, I think, rings through to the audience. They're trusting us with the information we provide, first of all. Secondly, they're trusting us for an outlook that isn't pitched one way or the other. We're not overstating something or understating something. So we're giving them the true facts and a pretty good outlook. We had to understand our audience. I think that's the biggest change I've seen, that we come across as very professional now, targeted to the audience, also with a story about why it's important to them, what they're hearing, why it's important, how they can go and apply that in their business. One of the greatest attributes about the HOCs is the ability for everybody to interact. So you come into a room and face-to-face you're with your clients. Whether you're community development or business development or any business line at CMHC, if one of your clients is there, you're able to showcase what CMHC can do for them. You're able to bring the latest market information to them. Chances are you'll refer them back to the website for even more information. But the advantage of doing it face-to-face and just being able to network and mingle, I think is very powerful. Certainly there's aspects of the HOCs that probably could be done by web or video, but I think there's nothing that overstates the value of getting together once or twice a year in a fora with all your clients and being able to hear the latest information.
We've been attending this conference for a few years and I absolutely love it. I find the information to be very, very valuable in the overall context of our marketplace. It tends to lessen the impact of some of, I think they reflected on the immediate noise and gives us a more analytical view of the marketplace, both from a micro perspective and a macro perspective, and I really enjoy that.
We find that these conferences and the information, the data, statistics, and a bit of the narrative that's presented really helps us frame future conversations. So today, for example, we learned that there's a lot of focus on the rental market, and this is something that we've kind of intrinsically understood in our work, in terms of the demand, vacancy rates, availability of stock, and all that kind of stuff. It gives us kind of a way to sharpen our focus a little bit and use really good data that paints both a national picture and a very localized one as well.
Well, I think what makes the Housing Outlook Conference different than other events that are out there is the fact that we appeal to a broad group of clients. So our message and our content is relevant for builders and developers, realtors, lenders, other levels of government. We've conducted several roundtables in centers where there is a Housing Outlook Conference, and that helps in the process of planning the Housing Outlook conferences. Essentially what we're doing there is we're meeting with the industry, key members from all different aspects of the industry in that center, including local officials as well, local government officials, and we're looking for subject matters that are key to that community. It's all about being local, and it's all about being what's relevant at that time for that market. Over the years, we've gained more experience about how to deliver effective presentation, and the presenters have changed. The visuals especially have changed. Charts have become much simpler, and we've learned over the years that clients, they don't want to work at a chart. Charts are very useful. They're needed. They're a must at a Housing Outlook conference. You need to show the data. You can't just talk about it. But on the other hand, they need to be simplified to a certain degree so people can absorb them. Over the years, I've tried different things to keep the Housing Outlook Conference interesting. I've had panels. They've been successful. I've had guest speakers, and they've been successful as well. So for me, it was always about having a variety of content from one year to the next, trying to have different speakers if possible, and just keeping it of interest for people, because I'm hoping people come each and every year.
We've tried to create a specific theme for our Housing Outlook conferences based on the flavor of the day. Over the past year, we decided that an echo boom theme was probably fairly relevant, particularly because this is a group that's actually going to be driving demand in the years to come. We've also streamlined the conferences. We've kept them a lot shorter and have targeted them a little more to what our industry clients want.
I think the Outlook conferences also provide a good opportunity to get a real look in behind the numbers. It's one thing to read a report, to look at your email, to read the newspaper and see, what the headline numbers are out there. But the Outlook conferences are a great opportunity to hear all the rationale and thoughts behind those headline numbers.
So I think CMHC is there as really the expert, and so the conference itself really highlights, these are general long-term trends in the industry, and providing kind of an in-depth analysis that takes away kind of some of the more day-to-day fluctuations that aren't really helpful for everyone. So it's a crucial, it is kind of the authority, I think, in terms of delivering that level of high analysis.
3 years ago, CNM had a very different approach to promoting our Housing Outlook conferences. Everything was print in brochures, print in flyers, print in newspapers, print in magazines. That's the way we got out our message about the Housing Outlook conferences. If we collected 1,000 addresses, well, we'd mail out that brochures to 1,000 people, and that's where the budget was getting a little bit tight. 3 years later, now we're using social media strategies, with the likes of Twitter, Facebook, blogs, etc. I could keep going on and on. But this is a very important strategy, just because not only are we using social media as a means to getting more bums in the seats, we're also using social media to increase our relationships with key associations in local markets. Every year, CNM plays a significant role in coming up with a concept for the Housing Outlook conferences. Last year, it was the stories behind the numbers. This year, it's profiling the echo boomer. So how did we come up with that concept? Well, we sat down hours and hours talking to market analysis about the type of research they collect from their stakeholder roundtables. What do people want to know about out there? Obviously, the market is okay this year, but where's the market going in the future? And that's what the Housing Outlook conferences are all about, forecasting the potential opportunities and issues in the years ahead in the housing market. The mandate of the HOCs has pretty much remained constant over the years, and that's pretty much educating the housing industry about where the market's at and where it's going to be in the following years. The only difference is that we're entering into a period where we're using new technologies, new social media strategies, and it's a pretty exciting time for the Housing Outlook conferences.